You never need to have another bad day. I just wanted my daughter, who used to live in Pittsburgh, to see that I was at the Squirrel Hill exit. And the Squirrel Hill Tunnel. Squirrel! I'm driving a big old truck in Pittsburgh. This is kind of crazy.
Turn right.
In 1¼ miles, turn left on Noble Road.
It didn't look this hilly on the map. I guess it's weird for anyone to follow the speed limit in Pittsburgh. We are open. No, you're not. Liar. Wish you weren't such a liar. Karaoke, cold beer to go. This is nostalgic.
In 1/4 mile, arrive at 784 Noble Road, on the right.
Trying to remember what it looked like in the Google Map picture.
You have reached your destination.
I think that's what it looked like. Let's just park it right there. This looks like...
In 1/4 mile, turn right on Lebanon Road.
In 1/4 mile,
There's a
turn
big
left.
woodchuck. Can you see the woodchuck? There he goes right across the road. Why did the woodchuck cross the road? I'll let you answer that. Okay, how can you ensure that you always avoid a bad day?
In 0.1 miles, turn left.
One way to avoid having a bad day is to never follow ways in
Turn right at the traffic light.
tight quarters. So the truck GPS said turn right. Now sometimes you're better off to follow ways, but I'm in a place where I'm guessing I would get in a lot of trouble.
Turn left.
Plus I already peeked at the map.
Continue
Trucks
1
reduce
1/4
gear.
miles to the end of the street, then turn left.
I'm empty, so I shouldn't have to reduce it too much. I was going to tell you, this looks like Pittsburgh. If you just look at all the hills. It's an interesting place to drive a truck, especially if you're trying to go the speed limit. But it's easier when you're empty. The thing is, nobody else goes the speed limit in Pittsburgh, so then you're obstructing people. Now, what if you wake up on a day where you're sure that there's a conspiracy to make your day go haywire? And it seems as though Murphy's Law is everywhere in effect.
In 1/2 mile, turn left.
The gaslighters in your life will tell you, oh,
At
it's
the end
all
of
in
the
your
street,
head.
turn left.
It's not really a conspiracy. It's all in your head. Now, you shouldn't believe that. It is probably a conspiracy, but that doesn't mean you're sunk. I should get in the left lane because I have to turn left. It's funny, my truck GPS says the speed limit is 30 and the signs say 35. Oh, now it says 30. Now it's still 35. Okay. The gaslighters will tell you, as I was saying earlier, that the only reason for you to have a bad day is if you are fucking it up yourself. It's certainly not their fault, and there is no conspiracy. Now let's try a different assumption.
Turn left.
Let's say there is a conspiracy, but you're going to have not a bad day. As a matter of fact, you may even have a magnificent day because you will have it in the face of adversity. And there's something satisfying about kicking the ass of a day that's really trying to screw you up. But let's say at least that you're not going to have a bad day. You're going to have at least a good day, if not a marvelous day. 25 miles an hour. Yeah, nobody goes 25 miles an hour on this road.
In 1/4 mile, keep left on Mifflin Road.
So to have a non-bad day, I have to first explain to you something I learned in my first year of public school music teaching. There was this whole course of instruction called ITIP, Instructional Theory into Practice. And I don't know if anyone else remembers it. It's based on behavioral psychology.
Keep left on Mifflin Road.
Steve Yeager and Madeline Hunter, very famous. And one of the big tricks in ITIP was called raising your students' level of concern. And one way to do that, I remember, was to go stand near your students who were perhaps squirrely. And by standing near your students, you could raise their level of concern and thus control their behavior, because it's behaviorist approach.
In 1/2 mile, take the ramp ahead to Pennsylvania 837 South toward Homestead.
And if you have visions of B.F. Skinner in your head, that's what it is. It's behaviorism. It's all kinds
In
of
1/4
conditioning.
mile, take the ramp ahead to Pennsylvania 837 South, then keep left.
It's operant conditioning. It's all that stuff where you don't care what anyone's thinking. All you care about is what they do.
Take the ramp ahead, then keep left.
My two GPS units are in complete disagreement at every juncture. This is 25 miles an hour, and I was going 32. The key point here is that it's all about control, and gaslighters control you by raising your level of concern. Whether these gaslighters be physical or metaphysical, and it doesn't much matter. So your key to having a not bad day is to lower your own level of concern after they try to raise it. And the machine we were talking about earlier, the emotion sucker, will come in handy here. You just have to fiddle with the programming a little bit and then note any conditions, any thoughts, any scenarios that make you feel like raising your level of concern. And then you let the machine do the work. You point out what it is that's causing your level of concern, or, not causing it, but suggesting to it that it should go up. And then you let the machine do its job. It just calms you down. calms you the fuck down. So if you're in New York City in a big truck, 53-foot trailer, and it looks like all hell is trying to break loose, that might seem like a conspiracy to get you to raise your level of concern. And that's when things really can go haywire. So for you not to be under the control of the conspiracies in your life, you have to figure out how to counteract that. And that leads us to the crass way of thinking, which is confident, relaxed, assured, strong, and steady. So this machine that helps you neutralize negative emotions will help you stay crass. And that's what we want. So just practice a little. That's really the secret, is you just routinely subject your high level of concern to the machine. Just let it know what's going on.
In half a mile, turn left.
And then you may have to repeat a few times. But with the habit in place, pretty soon you can maintain not only a not bad day, but a marvelous day. Because when you stay calm under pressure, you've got this ability, superhuman ability, to score more points. If you think about being a mediocre person with no challenges, you'll have an okay day. You'll have a neutral day. But if you're a champion, you want to prove it with some tough challenges. So if you stay calm and relaxed and you handle everything with aplomb, you'll end up feeling like a champion. And you'll be able to prove you're a champion because of the tough level of difficulty. So it backfires on the conspiracists when you end up handling everything they throw at you like a champ. And I thought it would be fun to deliver this message while I'm driving in, interesting conditions, hilly Pixburgh, skinny streets, road construction, bridges, and such. And it's definitely a good place to keep your level of concern as low as possible. So I'm practicing what I preach. A key point that I didn't say earlier is, if you get rattled by something and you do make a mistake, that's when the conspiracy licks its chops, rubs its hands together and thinks, oh boy, we got this guy now. Because it's easy to get distracted if you've made a mistake. So the best time of all to apply this crass idea is if you've gotten flustered and done something that you shouldn't, or even if you weren't flustered, because mistakes happen to even the calmest people. And then when you double down and you stay calm even if you've made a mistake, then you really feel good afterwards. Oh, it wasn't really a mistake, but my safety score will go down if I'm too far over a speed limit, and 25 mile per hour speed limit is easy to exceed, and I was going enough over that it might show up on my safety score, and that alone could rattle me if I let it. And if it was something more serious, I don't run over a curb, or certainly running over something.
In 2.25 miles, turn right on I-376 East.
Running over something I shouldn't. But you could absolutely end up in a compound situation where you just go from bad to worse. And the conspiracy loves that. So you can use your lowered level of concern when something, especially when something goes awry and it's your fault. That's when I tend to get the most concerned. Now the speed limit here is 25, so I'm calm enough to notice it this time. That's a beautiful river. So instead of going from bad to worse, I pull back from the brink and just go on like a champion. City of Pixburgh. We're crossing the Monongahela River. I don't know if you've ever crossed it. I have before because my daughter used to live pretty close to where I delivered this morning. I think Pittsburgh is beautiful, but it is kind of gritty. But I would be fine living in Pittsburgh. There's a lot to do, and excellent beer. Just ask my daughter. Boy, 25 miles per hour seems so slow. I gotta go a mile and a half more. I won't bore you with it. In case my daughter Christiana watches this, I wanted to tell her that in the warehouse where I just delivered, there was a toilet that had a button in the middle of the tank to flush, just like your old toilet did in your house in Pittsburgh. I wanted to remember to thank Clutch Trucker for putting the chorus of his It's a Beg and Strip Dog, He's a Beg and Strip Dog, on one of his recent shows. I also sent him the first verse, and since then I've thought of some refinements to things. So if we can collaborate on a second verse, then I'll just bring the whole thing up to date. I think about it, it's funny, I go along polishing it in my head. It's a pretty catchy tune, you have to admit. I wanted to say that one of the chief motivations I have for lowering my level of concern under pressure is that the conspirators seem to hate it. Whether they're all in my head or not, I can feel them, maybe you can too, getting really frustrated with me when I refuse to cave under pressure. So I like winning, but I really love not losing. I think it's just the way I'm wired. I feel like a winner when I don't lose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 I can see. I know there are more in this lineup. And not one of them was spinning. Make of that what you will. It's bound to be some kind of conspiracy. To me, it feels like some days are higher stakes than others. Like getting me to foul it up is more important on some days than others. And keeping from fouling it up is more important to me. I don't know why, on some days than others. And today seemed like a high stakes day. And yesterday too. And if there was a strategy against me, the conspiracy, then the plan was to get me to feel emotional about things, relevant or not, and almost everything was not relevant that I was feeling certain ways about or trying not to. And yesterday I wasn't paying attention to the idea that maybe I was being fucked with. But today I started right off with the topic of you never need to have another bad day. And I thought, okay, it's on. Let's see what's going on here. And all day long, but especially on the way home, I felt as though I were being pushed, vigorously pushed to think about things. Whether they were happy happy or sad or I guess a lot of them were annoying, or I remember feeling annoyed when I thought about them before. So in that context, it was like, if this is a high stakes day, then in that context, it felt as though I were being led to be charged up, to have a higher level of concern. And that isn't necessarily negative energy when you raise your level of emotional involvement. But I didn't trust it. I didn't want to feel intensely about anything, good or bad, because I just felt like the source of all the suggestions wasn't to be trusted. So I've been going along chanting to myself, no feelings, no feelings. And if this is a high stakes day and I was supposed to lose something important, I feel good if I don't lose anything. I feel good if I don't get some big mistake or get my ass handed to me in some way. It was a high stakes day, and maybe it still is, and I'm going to continue to shift all of the feelings to neutral and see how that goes and just not feel them. Okay, what's our spindication? Post-holiday. Maybe the windmills are hung over, or maybe they're doing hair of the dog. Aha! One is spinning vigorously, and the other isn't spinning at all. Allegro and kaput.
In 3/4 of a mile, arrive at home, on the right.